This is Mr. Reynolds, and we are in the biology lab, and we are going to dissect. Oops, it's already cut up a sheep heart. You just had a video on parts of the heart that you had to label, and that's getting us into the circulatory system and how blood is pumped and moved on throughout the body. And we got a lot to do with that coming up. But first, I wanted to take time and do this, do a heart dissection, so you're just kind of reviewing some of the parts of it. Okay. Bottom part here is actually this smells, so I'm going to put this back on here. Put the lid back on it. All right. Okay, in the sheep heart, we've got, you can see the bottom part of it, the bottom points kind of ish is called the apex of the heart. A lot of muscle walls around here. Look at, these are the two atria. Look how they're colored differently from the other ones. You can, on this heart, you can clearly pick that out, okay? This is where blood comes back from either from the lungs into the left atrium or from the rest of the body, top superior vena cava, bottom inferior vena cava, coming into the right atrium, okay? Collects there, and then is pumped on to the two atria contract, and they pump the blood down into the ventricles. This was already cut up, okay? And look at the walls of the ventricles. I'm going to guess by just thickness of the ventricle walls that this one over here looks a little thicker to me. This one should be the left ventricle, okay? So this is muscle lining it, and this is the chamber of the ventricle. Okay, here's this is a decent view of the valve. Okay, it's a pretty good view of the valves right here. Okay, you see these strands hooking to these are the papillary muscles down here, and the strands, you pronounce it chordae tendineae. Okay, they attach to the lobes of to the structures of the valves, and they pull down. When the muscles contract, the tendons pull, and the valves open up. Okay. If this is the left ventricle, then this is from the left atrium to the left ventricle is the bicuspid or the mitral valve. Okay, mitral valve prolapse. That's a condition that's been stated before, where the valve, if you look at my hands here, where the valve is supposed to close perfectly, and if it doesn't close perfectly because it's getting old or it just doesn't close all the way fit, when the ventricle contracts, it pushes some blood out here. And that's when the doctor, listening through the stethoscope, will hear a leaky sound as it's leaking back. Okay. All right. Moving on. This is let's say this is always fun to do. I'm going to stick probe through this and see where it comes out. It should be coming into the ventricle. Okay. So if this is wait a minute, sorry. I had that backwards. This over here, this is the left ventricle. So when the left ventricle contracts, blood comes out of here. Okay. Blood's going to go up this way, out the aorta. This should be the aorta, the largest blood vessel in the body. Okay. And as you've seen in diagrams, it's going to come up and take a quick loop down. Basically do a 180. It's pumped out, and then it curves and goes down. The aorta descends, descending aorta. Okay, you'll have to name the three major branches coming off here that takes blood to the arms, to the head. I'm sorry, to the right arm, to the head region, to the left arm. We need a constant flow of blood going to the brain. Okay, so if we don't get that, we're in trouble. And then it, like I said, it descends. It takes a 180, curves down, and then blood is shunted off to all the vital organs. And I'll show you a diagram on those in a PowerPoint later. But so let's open this up a little bit. Here's the chamber of the atria, how blood will collect in it. And again, here's even better look at some of the chordae tendineae attaching to the valves. If this is right ventricle, right atrium, right ventricle, then this is the tricuspid valve. Okay. I want to see if we can get a decent look at one of the valves coming out of the aorta. The aortic semilunar valve shuts off after blood is pumped out of the ventricle, out of the atrium. Okay. Then the valve leading out of the atria contracts. Okay. I'm going to cut this open and see if we can have a better look at those. If you remember the name of them, they're semilunar valves. They're halfway moon-shaped. This would be the aortic semilunar valve. Okay. Okay, I don't see a clear look, half moon-shaped. I'm going to cut this smooth membrane away so we can see more of the muscle underneath there. Wait. I see a little bit more of the valve over here. I can see a little bit better, not great. Okay. Cutting carefully away from your finger. All right. Let's see what that does. Who's in here? Pull some of the smooth membrane back so you can see what some more of these just muscle fibers look like. Okay, real thick wall. Remember the left ventricle and how thick this is. It has to pump blood out to all the rest of the body. So it's got to be this, and you'll learn that all the arteries, as it's a pretty high pressure coming out, they have thicker walls in the veins. In fact, there's a very, very low pressure in the veins, so they actually even have to have some valves in them to prevent gravity from pulling the blood back down. Okay. What else did you learn from where I cut this? Since the way I slice it, if I cut it this direction, we'd be able to see more, a better look at the interventricular septum that separates the two ventricles. You had to do that when you saw the conduction system of the heart coming down there, and where the different nodes make it contract. Okay, so the two atria, reviewing the two atria, collect the blood, and then they contract at the same time, pushing the blood down to the ventricles. Then the two ventricles would contract at the same time, one pushing the blood into the aorta to the rest of the body, one pushing it out to the lungs so they can pick up some oxygen and then come back through the pulmonary veins to the heart. Okay, I think we're going to stop. I'm going to expand this a little bit more. We can look down in here. Let's look down into this. This was this is one of the pulmonary arteries. We're looking there. You can see some of the valves in there. Okay, and once the blood comes out of that, then it shuts off, like some swinging doors that slam back together. That's as far as they go. Okay. Again, this was a look in the aorta, and you can't see them clearly here with all this. That's why I like some of the diagrams I've been giving you on PowerPoint. Well, it'll give a nice picture of what it looks like this, and then an artist's sketch of it, so we can actually see some of the different coloration of it a little bit better. Okay, And that is going to be it for this one. Thank you very much.